Hello everyone, Memory here. In the last episode of Progression of Struggle, we managed to liquefy enough silver to buy ourselves a pair of Penbeg's gloves. And that was about 3 months ago. The plan was to have 3 more episodes before I end the season, but obviously that didn't happen because I was distracted by a whole bunch of other stuffs. So after I had a look at about 100 or so clips that I needed to go through, I might as well do a big episode to finish the season strong. You know, when you want to finish something strong, it usually means everything beforehand was weak. And oh boy, very weak indeed. Weak in the active playtime department. I think I've reached the BDO retirement lifestyle where as long as I'm doing some bare minimum stuff, I don't really need much active playtime to kinda keep up with the game. All I really did in these 3 months was Laura's Daily, master cooking crates, feed workers, sell energy pods, and spend the rest of the time just AFK fishing. Maybe a few bottle runs here and there, but it was like maybe a few trips a week. Nowhere near what I used to do, so during these 3 months of refusing to be useful, what has been acquired? Actually quite a bit, believe it or not, and there were 3 of them. My initial plan was to buy my final piece of pen armor, the Ergon shoes, with the silver that I have been saving, and then start upgrading my accessories. I've also got a secondary goal on the side, and that is to make a 200 plus fail stack, so I can make use of my final golden hammer on my fallen god armor, going for Tet. And there was nothing better to use for stacking other than Ergon shoes, because it is the most expensive boss gear and it is also the final piece of pen gear that I don't have. If it goes, great, I don't have to buy it anymore and I can use the money straight on the accessory upgrades. If it didn't go, also great, because I can then make use of my hammer. No real bad outcomes here. Now you need 2700 cronstones for an attempt of Tet Fallen God armor, and that is a good 2.5 billion silver worth of cronstones if I buy costumes to melt. A normal pen boss gear attempt is around 500 cronstones, so going for Tet Fallen God armor is by far the best way I can extract value from this hammer. So I actually do hope to get a 200 plus stack a little more than actually popping the pen Ergon, since the hammer does have a time limit until June 16th, 2021. Now I did manage to get to 204 stack, and I was like 6.42% on an Ergon, seemingly the hardest boss gear to enhance, at least for me, so it's probably worth a risk going for another tab to go to 210 stack. And then Velk's Cry is gonna get me to 220 stack. That's a pretty decent stack, so that's what I did. And of course it went. But like I said, there is no bad outcomes this time around, because Ergon Shoes is the most expensive pen boss here, sitting at around 18 billion when I hit it. And I was pretty close to having enough silver to buy it, so that means I can now upgrade my accessories with my 18 billion silver. I had a few options here, swapping my Narc's earring for a distortion earring, which is the most expensive option that will net me negative gear score because of the negative DP. But it will bump me up 2 AP brackets, which is a huge damage improvement. The other option is to get an accuracy necklace or belt, which in both cases I will lose 3 AP in return for around 20 accuracy. This will be a lot cheaper since both of my necklace and belt are pretty expensive themselves. I can even swap both of them if I sell my current necklace and belt, but I ended up going for the distortion earring route, because after I asked around for some advice and did some research, it turns out that I need to have over 308 AP before accuracy is worth the worry in my situation. So the Tet distortion earring was my second upgrade. Now at this point, I should start focusing on Capstone levels on all of my gears to at least level 6, because they are the cheapest way to gain sheet AP and DP for me. But that's not what happened, because at that time I was tagged in my guild Discord as one of the people who still doesn't have a Garmoth Heart in hand on my offhand. I've already upgraded my awakening weapon a few episodes back, so that's out of the way. But now I need another one. And this time it is sitting at max price, which is actually a good thing, believe it or not, because the stock was going down at a pretty fast rate when I was following the price. If it was not hard capped at 9 billion, it will probably go up to around 15 billion or something. So I needed some fast money to buy it before it was sold out potentially. Luckily, that was around the time when the anniversary event ended and the end of the season reward comes in. And I also sold some of the higher value worker materials that I was gonna use myself, plus a few guild paychecks, and bam! About 2 weeks later, I bought the Garmoth heart at around 8.7 billion on a pre-order as my third upgrade. And for those of you who are still yet to do these Garmoth heart upgrades, you should save up these black energy residue that you get from world bosses and boss scrolls, because you will need around 1,300 of them to do the upgrade quest. Anyways, this is what my current gear looks like. I've got around 4 Kavras levels on all boss gears, and I'm sitting at 650 gear score now. As far as I know, this is around the average gear score of a siege guild. So at this point, I consider myself finally caught up with the front end of the player base. I'm guessing I'm in the top 10% when it comes to the gear score. What a wild ride. If you reach around this point in Black Desert, you can comfortably say you've beat the game, and you are ready for the next shiny thing. Don't get me wrong though, this is not saying I'm going to quit the game anytime soon. This is still one of the better action MMORPG the current market has to offer. I just feel like this is a good point to place a checkmark on my journey in BDO. So I thought to myself, what better way to end the season than to share with you about what I've learned and some of my opinions on making gains and upgrades, since I did reach it this far. So here it is, the ultimate truth of progression in Black Desert, memory version. And no, I'm not gonna bring out the passive income here or any secret grinding spot or anything like that. There's enough information on the net explaining all those things already. I'm gonna talk more about how to find the best way of progression that suits your own situation. I think this is more important to know than anything else when it comes to making gains. It is made out of 3 things: efficiency, time, and effort. Efficiency is just how efficient something generates profit, usually measured as silver per time. You need to convert everything into the same silver per time if you are doing a comparison. Time is just simply how much time you can afford to spend on doing something. The third one, effort, is usually a bit less talked about. And what I mean by effort is how likely you are going to do the activity. This is how it works. Everyone has their own maximum amount of effort value, and you spend some of those effort value every time you do something. And each thing costs a certain amount of effort value, which is different for everyone. The lower the effort value of a certain activity costs for you, the more times you are able to do those activities before you stop or being burnt out. For example, some people might enjoy horse training over anything else in the game. So the effort value of horse training for that person is very low. Therefore, they are able to do horse training all day every day. Another example is fishing. Fishing is not considered as fun, and it is very inefficient when it comes to silver generation. However, because it requires so little preparation and setup, and it is affected by disconnection the least compared to other AFK activity. So for many people, the effort value of fishing is very low, and therefore they are very likely to do fishing when they AFK for a long period of time. Now, if you consider all these factors in when you are deciding what it is that you want to do to make gains, you are guaranteed to maximize your own progression speed. Most people focus on efficiency when they are looking for ways to make silver. The problem with that is, usually it means doing something that they will not be able to do for long. You know, maybe they don't have enough time, or they simply just don't enjoy doing it. For example, you can do something for, let's say, 500 millions an hour, but you are only able to do that for like 2 hours a week on average, versus something you can do for 10 hours a week, but it only gives 200 millions an hour. At the end of the week, the second option is gonna give you way more silver than the first option. Using me as an example, I decided to grind out the daily Argus for a while, and since grinding is a high effort value activity for me, I couldn't be bothered doing much life skill after I was done grinding. After about 2 weeks, I stopped grinding. I even stopped doing anything remotely active, like bartering or packing Imperial crates, for like a week. And my character was just doing fishing 24/7. Because I was kinda burnt out with the game and I ended up with less progression compared to if I just do less efficient things but continuously. My point is, figure out what you like to do the most first and then dig into how everyone does that particular thing efficiently. And by following that, I'm able to get myself a very decent 650 gear score gear set in a little under 2 years. My average active playtime on the game per day was probably about an hour, not including node war times. And this started off from episode 1 with this set of gears. In today's standard, this should be achievable within like 2 to 3 months, starting from a fresh account. And to give you a better perspective, this is the gear set of my 4th boss ult, which is the weakest one. And you can probably get to this level of gear with just a few days of playtime. Again, from a fresh account because of the almighty Oasis gear. So for those of you who are still struggling for gear upgrades, now you know that as long as you keep playing, even if you're as lazy as me, it takes at most 2 years to catch up with the top end players in Black Desert, according to this dodgy YouTube 24 episode series. Now, this is not the end of the channel by any means, and there will be more Black Desert videos coming out in the future. But I'm gonna start looking at some other games on the side, because eventually, I know I'm gonna leave this game once and for all, just like many of my other games that I've stuck with for a long time. As for now, I'm currently enjoying Path of Exile quite a bit, so that might be my next video. Hopefully we're gonna see another decent MMO that everyone hops in together in the near future. And then that'll probably be the next time I migrate to a new home. For those of you who are still here, and especially those who has been following the series, thank you. This probably sounds cliche as fuck, but trust me, once you've tried to make videos for a while, you will know that I'm being genuine when I say it does mean a lot to me. Anyways, that's it for today. Like it if you subscribe, hopefully you enjoyed the series, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.